Morning.
Miss.
Good morning, Hadi.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Miss.
Hi, Miss. Okay, like usually, don't
Hi,
write anything in the chat. Okay? Don't write anything in the chat. At 5, you should all be muted. You,
Hi.
you can unmute yourself when I call your name. Dear,
Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Miss.
Hi, Hannah. Hi, Farah.
I missed you.
I miss you way more.
Hi.
Okay, this week we're still talking about food chains, and you will have a quiz on Friday. The quiz will be also about food chains. Aya, you need to connect the audio, dear, so you can talk to me. Yeah. Ali Rida Hamoud also, you should be muted.
Sure.
Hi, Hoda. Hoda, this is a grade 5 science session.
Oh.
Okay, so food chains show us how organisms feed and how energy passes in nature. Food chains always start with a producer and with an apex predator. We will start solving some questions about food chains.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I miss you, Miss, very much.
I miss you way more. Is this Rama? Okay, so like I told you.
Hi, Miss Patton.
Hi, dear. Here is a food chain. Yalla ya Lana. Can you please read this food chain? I want you to read this one. Yalla ya Lana. Read this food chain. Okay, so Lana didn't hear me. Maybe Yalla ya Rama.
The grass is eaten by the grasshopper,
Okay.
and the grasshopper is eaten by the monkey,
Okay.
and the monkey is eaten by the tiger.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as I told you, all food chains or food webs start with the producer. Hadi, what's a producer? Why do we call plants producers?
Because the plants produce has food.
Their own food, excellent. Green plants produce their own food. They take sunlight energy, carbon dioxide and water from nature, and they produce their own food. Yusuf, what is another word for producers? What's another word means producer? Producer?
Miss, can I help?
Nah. It's Hadi's. It's Yusuf's turn.
What?
Producers are also called. This question is for Yusuf and Ali Hussein. Producers are also called what?
I know.
Autotrophs.
Autotrophs. Thank you. We call them also autotrophs. Producers are autotrophs because they produce their own food, and all other elements in the food chain are consumers. Okay, this is the primary consumer, consumer number 1. Secondary consumer, consumer number 2.
Secondary consumption.
Tertiary consumer, consumer number 3. Let's see. Okay, here is also another food chain. We call it a food chain because it shows how energy moves in nature. Grass is eaten by the cricket is eaten by the bluebird is eaten by the snake is eaten by the owl. Yalla ya. Let me see who's here. You need to mute yourself. When you answer a question, please mute yourself. يلا يا تالا. تالا, please mute. 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 Rama, please mute yourself. Tala, tell me, why do we consider the owl as an apex predator? Why is the owl an apex predator? The owl in this food chain is an apex predator. Why?
Can I?
Ali Rida Hamoud. The owl is an apex predator. This question is for you and for Tala. Why is the owl considered as an apex predator? Excellent, ya Tala. Because it is not consumed or eaten by any other organism. Apex predators are not consumed by any other organism. Lamar, please mute. When you finish answering a question, mute yourself. Yalla ya Lamar. Lamar, can an animal be a predator
Yes.
and a prey at the same time?
No.
No. Yalla, let's see. Rama, can I know why you're not muted? There is noise your side. Rama, mute. So Lamar is saying that an animal cannot be a prey and a predator at the same time. What do you think, ya Zahra? Rama, please mute.
Miss, what did you say? I didn't hear you well.
Can an animal be a prey and a predator at the same time? Yes or no?
Repeat, please.
Okay. Can an animal, I will write it for you. Do you want me to write it for you? Can an animal
Yeah.
B, a predator and a prey at the same time?
Yes.
Can you give me an example and explain? You have a food chain in front of you. Here is a food chain in
A
front of you.
snake.
Okay, the snake is the predator of which other organism?
Owl. I mean, the bluebird.
Excellent. The snake is the predator of the bluebird. Bravo. The snake is the predator of the bluebird. And
It's the prey of the owl.
excellent, ya Zahra. Excellent answer. Thank you so much. The snake is the predator of the bluebird, but it is the prey of the owl. Yalla yalla Mar. I want you to give me another example. Did you see? So yes, an animal can be Lamar. An animal can be a predator and a prey at the same time. Zahra chose this example. The snake is the predator of the bluebird, but it is the prey of the owl. Yala yala Mar, give me another example of an animal that is a predator and a prey at the same time.
The bluebird,
Good job.
it's a predator to the cricket and a prey to the snake.
Excellent. Good job. The bluebird is the predator of the cricket, but the prey of the snake. So yes, an animal can be a predator and a prey at the same time. Okay, let's start solving some questions. يلا يا فرح. Farah and Ghina. Look at figure A. Okay?
Yes.
This is figure A.
Yes.
Determine if this figure shows a food chain or a food web. Is it a food chain or a food web?
A food web.
Why? Is this a food chain or a food web and why? So Ghina and Farah said this is a food web. What do you think, ya Mustafa? Mustafa, Hassan Karaouni, look at figure A. Does figure A show a food chain or a food web?
Miss, I think it's a food chain
Why?
because down they wrote the result is the secondary producer in this food chain.
Okay, maybe they made a mistake. Is this your explanation because they wrote this in the picture? Shuya Mustafa. Mustafa, is this a food chain or a food web? Food chain or food web? شو يا غنى?
Food web.
This is a food web because شو يا لانا؟ علي حسين.
Because it starts with the first. Because it's It's a food web because it starts with the decomposers.
But look, it doesn't start with the decomposer. The arrows are pointing to the fungus. They are not going out of the fungus. All arrows are going out from the producer. Okay, if you think this is a food web, raise your hand. If you think this is a food web, raise your hand. Okay, so most of you say, let's see, you're saying that this is a food web. I will read it for you. Last time we saw and we talked about the difference between a food chain and a food web. All food chains and all food webs start with a producer and end with an apex predator. Okay? The fungus right here, fungi, is a decomposer. So we don't read it when we read the food chain. We do not read it. It's not a consumer. It's a decomposer. And decomposers' job start when all elements of the food chain die. So when the grass die, when the grass dies, when ants die, when the lizard dies, and when the rattlesnake dies, the decomposer would decompose their bodies into minerals. The fungus in here isn't a part of this food chain. It waits until all other elements die. So I will do this. Look now. Is it a food chain or a food web? This question is for all of you. Is it a food chain or a food web?
Food chain.
It's a
Food
food
chain.
chain. It's a food chain
Chain.
because how many primary consumers is there?
Food chain.
How many primary?
Miss, they revealed the answer.
How many primary consumers is there? Don't send me anything in the chat. This is the primary consumer. This is the consumer number one. The grass is eaten
yes.
by the ants.
Yes, one.
Is the grass eaten by anything else?
No.
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 So there is only one primary consumer. Look at my answer. There is one primary consumer only. So this is a food chain and not a food web. In a food web, there are more than one primary consumer. Okay, so this is a food chain and not a food web. So this is the answer of the first question. There is only one primary consumer, so this is a food chain and not a food web. Indicate if the statements are true or false. Yala Ali Hamoud. The grass produces its own food out of sunlight, decomposers, and minerals.
Miss Fatima.
Good morning. Yalla Ali Hamoud. The grass is a producer. It produces its food using sunlight, decomposers, and minerals. Is this true?
False.
True or false?
False.
Why?
Because the sunlight is not decomposer.
Listen to me. Listen. We're talking about the grass right now, the producer. Does the producer use sunlight, decomposers, and minerals to make its food? What does it use to make its food?
True.
So Kassab is saying
true.
true. شو علي حمود؟ يعني the grass take sunlight energy, take decomposers, and take minerals to make its food.
Miss, no,
Can I
false. False.
How do producers make their food? What do they use? شو قاسم؟
They
Water?
use sunlight, carbon dioxide, oxygen,
Water.
The grass,
and water.
the grass produces its own food. Out of what? Tell me. What are the
Not
three things?
oxygen.
Not oxygen. Bravo.
Light,
Sunlight,
water,
water, and
carbon dioxide.
carbon dioxide. Thank you. So the statement is wrong. To make its food, the grass uses sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. يلا يا آسم. آسم, your turn. Lizards. Lizards. Are lizards piscivorous animals?
Yes. What? Your voice was lagging. Can you
Lizards
say it one more
are
time?
piscivorous animals. True or false?
False. Uh, lizards are less.
Yalla, Yusuf will help you.
Mm,
Yusuf and Asim, look at the lizards. What do lizards eat?
no, your voice was lagging.
What do lizards eat?
Ants.
Ants.
The
They eat ants. So
ants.
which
Yes.
class of
That's
carnivores
false.
are
False.
they? Which class of carnivorous animals are they?
Carnivores.
Insectivores.
Insectivorous. Excellent. Lizards
Yes.
are insectivorous animals. They are not piscivorous animals. They do not eat fish, at least in this food chain. Lizards
Yes, I know.
do not eat fish here. They eat ants, and ants are insects. So lizards are insectivorous animals. Yalla Tala.
Yes.
Yalla ya Tala. Please, others, mute. When you answer a question, please mute yourself. Yalla ya Tala. The grass is eaten by the fungus. Look, I will erase this. The grass is eaten by the fungus, so fungi are herbivores. True or false? Here is the fungus. Why?
Miss, false.
Yeah, Kasa, it's Sala's turn. Please keep muted. So this is false, Yatala. Good job. Why?
Because fungi are decomposers.
Excellent. So do we say the grass is eaten by the fungus or the grass is decomposed? When it dies, the grass is decomposed by the fungus. So fungi are what? Fungi are decomposers. يلا يا غنى. غنى محفوظ. غنى محفوظ and غنى فاضل. This question is for both of you. The lizard is the secondary producer in this food chain. Look at the lizard. The lizard is the secondary producer. True or false?
Miss, can I say?
It's for غنى and غنى.
Oh,
يلا غنى محفوظ غنى فاضل. Is the lizard the secondary producer in this food chain?
false.
False. Why? This is false. شو يا كساب? Why is this false?
Miss, can I answer?
The lizard is...
Miss, can I?
Yes.
The lizard is a
Secondary what?
secondary.
Is it the secondary producer in this food chain?
Miss, the lizard is the
Miss, can I help? Secondary consumer.
Consumer.
Secondary consumer.
It's the secondary consumer in this food chain. There is no secondary producer or primary producer. There is only one producer in a food chain, which is the grass. This is the producer, primary consumer,
Primary.
secondary consumer, tertiary consumer.
Secondary consumer.
When all of these elements die, they will be decomposed by decomposers. So hon, we do not say that the grass is eaten by the fungus or the ants are eaten by the fungus. No. Fungus are decomposers. When these die, when the 4 elements of this food chain die, their body will be decomposed by decomposers.
Miss, the snake is apex prey.
Apex predator, yes. Yeah, we'll solve another question. Ready? I think, since you are a bit asleep, wake up, guys. You can all unmute yourselves and we will do this question together. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Don't send me anything in the chat. I
Okay.
cannot see the chat. Yalla, before we start solving the questions, tell me, is this a food chain or a food web and why?
Food web.
Why?
Food web.
Because
Because it has so many primary consumers.
so many, how many? How many primary?
Not so many. More than one.
More than one.
2.
This is a food web because it shows more than one
It have more than one
primary
primary
Primary consumer.
consumer.
primary consumers. Thank you. I will circle them. I will circle the primary consumers.
What?
What is the
Rabbit and the sparrow.
Rabbit and the
sparrow? Excellent.
sparrow.
This bird
Rabbit
and
and the
the
sparrow.
rabbit are primary
Miss,
consumers.
can the
Yeah.
owl be? Miss, can the
Yalla, let's start with part A. Sort the elements of the food web in the table below. Tell me, who are the producers in this food web? Who are the producers?
Raspberry.
sparrow.
Raspberry.
Raspberry,
raspberry?
raspberry bush. Yalla, where is the other producer?
Rabbit.
Another producer.
Miss, there's no other producer.
There is no
There's
other
no.
producer. Excellent,
Only
Yalla.
the raspberry.
There is only one producer. Bravo, Zahra. Bravo.
One
Yeah.
producer.
What about consumers?
And in the food web, only there are one producer.
Yalla, consumers. Who are the consumers?
Hope.
Hope,
Hope.
Mountain
Lion.
Mountain lion.
Rabbit.
Dog.
Sparrow. Owl.
Rabbit.
owl,
Rabbit is not
The sparrow. Sparrow.
Okay, so all the others are consumers. food webs and food chains start with a producer and all the others are consumers. Yeah. Determine
Miss, in the food web and in the food web,
determine if
Miss, in the
mountain
food
lions
web
are
and in the
apex
food
predators.
chain, there are
Yes, there are.
only one producer.
Yes. Yeah.
Miss,
Mountain lions.
can the
Is the mountain lion an apex predator?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mountain lions are apex predators. That's it?
Because it's not
The
eaten
owl
by
also is an
any
apex
another
predator.
Miss,
Because
consumer.
and mountain lion
Because
and,
it's not
and the
like
eaten
hope
by
also.
any
any
another
other
consumer.
organism. Excellent.
Consumer.
Okay, excellent. Listen to me. In the exam, and whenever I tell you to determine something, you have to justify. You have to say because.
Because.
Mountain lions are apex predators because they're not eaten by any other organism. Yalla, pick out a food chain that contains 4 levels from this food web.
Four.
Yes. What do I start with?
Miss, I have one.
Raspberry.
Raspberry.
With
The raspberry bush,
Then
Raspberry bush.
then the rabbit,
Hawk.
rabbit.
then the rabbit dogs, then the mountain lion.
Okay.
Raspberry bush. Rabbit, fox, and the mountain lion.
Okay, mountain lion. Okay, be careful.
Miss,
When you
I have another one.
when
We
you
can
have,
raspberry bush.
listen to me. When you write a food web, your food web must start with a producer. You should start with a producer and it ends with an apex predator. You cannot stop whenever you want. Deal? Your food chain, just to make sure your food chain is correct, your food chain should start with a producer and end with an apex predator. 5A ريش انتوا هون. 5A, this is 5B's turn. Yalla, let's find something else to solve with this. Okay. 5B, any questions about the lesson? It talks about producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers,
No.
tertiary consumers.
Miss,
Very easy.
It's very easy. So I want you to take full marks, all of you on the quiz. Okay? Take your time and solve the quiz correctly. Yeah, let's do the last question together.
Miss,
Yes.
Okay.
prey means عدو.
Prey?
Yes.
لا. No.
What means prey?
prey هي it's like الضحية. Okay? So it's the animal hunted by other animals. Like the lion hunts the rabbit, so the rabbit is the prey of the lion. Yeah.
The prey means
Is eat.
Yeah. Figure B shows a food chain. Here is a food chain. يلا يا علي حسين. علي حسين, read this food chain.
oh, the leaf is eaten by the caterpillar. The caterpillar is eaten by the chameleon. The chameleon is eaten by the snake. The snake is eaten by the mongoose.
Mongoose, thank you. يلا علي حشوش. علي حشوش, we have to tell if the statements are true or false. The mongoose is the tertiary consumer. Is it the consumer number 3? True or false?
True.
True. Yalla, help us, Yam. Let's see. Ghina and Ghina, are you here? Ghina.
Yes.
Okay. So Ali Hashush said, no, yes, the mongoose is the consumer number 3. What do you think?
It is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yalla, نشوف. Let's see.
Miss? No.
What is this? What is this?
Wait. It's a producer.
It's a
Miss,
producer.
no.
This is the
It's a
producer.
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 Miss, the
Haida.
snake is a tertiary.
This. What is this?
That's a
Primary
capital.
consumer.
Primary consumer. Haida.
Secondary consumer.
Secondary consumer. Haida.
Tertiary
Tertiary
consumer.
Tertiary
consumer.
consumer. Haida tertiary consumer.
Miss, I said.
Okay.
The
And
mongoose is the apex predator.
Apex predator.
Haida apex predator. Bravo. So is the first statement
Predator.
true or false?
False. The mongoose is the apex
False.
predator.
And I have 2 ways to correct this. Who is the tertiary consumer?
Either we say the snake,
The snake is the
the snake, or we say
The tertiary consumer. Consumer.
Yeah. The leaf. The leaf is eaten by the primary producer. True or false?
false.
Why? ليش false?
Primary consumer.
Primary
It's true.
Because there's no primary
Bravo.
consumer.
The leaf is
That's
eaten by the primary consumer and not the primary producer. There is no primary producer. We have
there's no
only
such thing as
one.
primary producer.
It's a trick. It's not primary producer, it's primary consumer. The snake is the predator of the mongoose. What do you think? The snake is the predator of the mongoose. True or false?
No.
Why?
False.
False.
The snake is
It's the predator.
False.
Or it's the
Snake
predator
is-
of the chameleon.
Bravo. Excellent, Zahra and Lamar. We have 2 ways to correct this. أو بنقول
The snake is the prey of the mongoose.
أو بنقول the snake is the prey of the mongoose أو بنقول the snake is the predator of the chameleon. On the snake is the predator. I will write it also for you كمان. The snake is the predator of the chameleon. Yalla, last one. The snake, yes.
True.
Last one. The snake is the predator of the chameleon. True or false?
True. You just said it.
Okay.
Did you write the question? You
Yalla.
wrote the question.
What?
You
Okay.
wrote the question
Just a quick
in
reminder.
in blue pen.
What are the 5 classes of herbivorous animals? Quickly.
Herbivores.
Herbivores,
Granivores.
insect, frugivores,
Sapsuckers.
Carnivores.
insectivores,
Sapsuckers.
granivores,
Bloodsuckers.
suckers, frugivores,
What about bees and
frugivores,
butterflies?
nectarivores, granivores, sapsucker, and herbivores.
Nectarivores.
Nectary void.
Yes.
Bravo. What about the 5